It's time to start putting stuff together for the Coleman engine. I got everything in the cases cleaned up and ready to go. Got the new crankshaft in. Really don't need a press. It's better if you use one, but I just set the new one in there straight. Get you a socket over that nut that'll fit. Get to smacking. I also replaced the little shift plate there. On these, it's common for it to jump out of gear, either in drive or reverse. I found a guy on YouTube who makes the plates. I believe his channel name is Jose Trejo1. I'll make sure and leave a link to his channel in the description. You have to take off that, take off the seal. There's a little C-clip you take out. This whole assembly drops. Then on the bottom side, you have to cut off your weld, and this will slide off. Make sure you have the right orientation for this new one on there. Weld it, then put everything back in. Besides that, there wasn't too much else wrong inside the cases. All the bearings are good. Nothing looks broken or worn. Let's get the cases together. Got them back together. Don't forget on this side, you have your spacer. Needs to go back in there. The tapered side goes in. And now put back on the wet clutch and the wet clutch cover. Now the clutch cover. Now you can go ahead and put this cover back on. Don't forget the gasket that's on the back of it. Now your primary clutch, and slide it back on. Your secondary clutch. Now go ahead and put on the belt. Get you a bolt. Drill it in there. That opens up that to give you more room. Now we're getting to the parts where I didn't have some of the parts to begin with. For your clutch, I have the dowels, one for the top, one for the bottom, but I'm missing one bolt, so gotta find a bolt. All right, that's everything done for this side. Just gotta put on the cover. I'll do that later. First thing, put on our new oil pump.
Is that an 8? That is an 8. Not a 10.
We put on this gear. It's got a keyway. Make sure you line it back up with the keyway. Just jam something up in there to hold it. Tighten it down. Throw it down for good luck. Forgot to put that on, but just take out that top bolt, loosen that bottom one, and you can slide the tensioner out the way enough. Now your gear that has the little springs on it, this raised side will go towards the inside. And then this dot will line up with the dot that's on this gear. You have to make sure the engine is at top dead center, and then put on this gear to line up with that gear. I didn't explain that the best, timing these gears, and I already have it all back together, so I'll try and explain it with this drawing I did, a little Picasso right here. So this is the gear with the springs. It'll go into your crankshaft. That mark is representing where the keyway will go. This gear goes on like the counterbalancer. It will spin freely. That's your water pump, doesn't matter. So this will already be on. You'll put this gear on with that dot lined up with the keyway. Make sure the engine is at top dead center. After you put that on, you have to turn that gear along with the whole crank. So this will move and this. And the keyway and dot will be lined up there. This one spins freely, so just spin that one so the dot will line up. You may have to take this gear off a little bit so it's not fully on, so it doesn't catch onto that gear. But turn this gear with the whole crank so it's all lined up that way. Spin that so the dots line up right here. Once you're done with that, turn this so everything lines back up at top dead center. I hope that made everything a little more clear. If not, oh well. Okay, got it on, make sure it's flush and all your springs are flush also. You can see the two dots match up. Little plate and C-clip or circlip, whatever you want to call it. Alright, got that on. You can put on your bigger gear. And don't forget the thrust washer. I'll go on. Or starter gear. Or there. This will go there. Don't forget your little water pump gear. And put on your flywheel. Don't forget your little wood drift key, little half moon. You can use this. This goes on the outside of the stator cover, flywheel cover, whatever it is. Goes over that, on the outside of that. Go ahead and use it to run that flywheel up some, because it's pressed on. All right, now put on your gasket. All right, now the cover. This can always be a bit tricky just because the magnets and all that. All right, just a few more small things. Then this. Water pump housing. All right, I'm gonna stop there. That's the whole bottom end done. Just a few plastic pieces you gotta put back on. So before I start putting any of the top end together, I do check the ring gaps. So just set your ring down in your cylinder, get your piston, lube everything up. Set your piston down in there so you can get your ring flush. And that little gap there is your ring gap. So I'll get a feeler gauge, stick it in there, see what it measures out to be. I couldn't find a for sure specification on what the gap should be, but on Google, I found you should do 4 thousandths or 0.004 of an inch multiplied by the diameter of the cylinder bore, and on this is 3.32. It's 0.013 inches. Convert that to millimeters, so 0.33 millimeters. So that gap should be no smaller than that, no bigger than that. I'll do that one first. Sketching a little, but you can still move it. 0.35 millimeters is too big, so that one's good. I'll do the same thing for the other one, and if it's good, then you won't see anything else on it. If it's not good, you'll see me fixing it. Ring gaps were good. Now I can go ahead and throw on the first gasket. Go ahead and start putting in your rings into your piston. Oil ring, these two small ones will go on each side of it. The bottom gap. The thicker black ring will go in your middle gap. And then the black ring with the silver lining goes in the top. Remember to have your letters or numbers facing up. Alright, got the rings on. They're all staggered. On the piston, make sure you put it onto the rod with that arrow facing in. Put the piston on the rod. Put in your other little clip. Alright, got the cylinder ready to put on. Don't forget your new tensioner. I don't have it set all the way in there, just how the cylinder's set. Don't forget your O-ring that goes there. I like to put a little dab of grease on the back to help it stay in place. Let's get this cylinder slapped on. Alright, got that sucker on. Won't even lie. That one was kicking my butt a little, but we got it on. Go ahead and put your one little bolt in. Now I'll go ahead and lock the valves. I need a suction cup tool. Go on, stick it down in the hole, put on some lapping compound. Alright, when you're done, you should have a nice, smooth, shiny surface around your valve and on your head. Go ahead and do the other one. Now I can start putting the valves back in the head, and then put your valve springs back in. Get it where it's like that. Need a compression tool, and then have your little keepers ready to put in there. Alright, you see it's compressed, and then now you have room to drop your keepers in there. Little keepers are back in. Now do the other side. Now put your camshaft back in. Alright, now put in your rocker arms. Make sure you're putting them in the right side. Do not forget the little thrust washer thing, spacer, I don't know what it is. Pretty sure it's a thrust washer. But I have mine marked intake for the intake, the other one E for the exhaust. This thrust washer will go on the inside, so it can be a bit tricky getting it back in there. Got that one in. You can see the washer on there. So that's what's kind of tricky, is getting the washer to stay without falling down while you put the pin through. Same thing for the other side. All right, now you can put on your little retainer thing. One for this side. All right, now you can put on this little coolant port. Now your head gasket. All right. Alrighty, it's time to put on the head. Got the timing chain ready, the head all ready, sprocket. The engine is at top dead center, obviously with the piston there. But to check, if you can see that line on the flywheel, it's lined up with the little line in the case there. When I put the head on and this gear, it has a dot at the top. It will line up with the timing mark on the head. It's hard to tell, but it's that mark right there. You can see the casting has a line that goes all the way, even though it's hard to tell right here. Get this thing back on. right, got it on. I'm missing one of the nuts. It wasn't in the pile, so I'm gonna have to find one that'll go there. But torque these down to 28 foot-pounds and torque them in that order. Get your timing gear, you gotta line it up. You can see the dot lined up with the little notch there. You can see a bit better from this angle. You can always stick a screwdriver down in your tensioner to get the slack out of the chain to make sure it lines up even better. All right, put this on. There's a little notch on the back. I'll line up with the notch there. Now, all right, I'll give the engine a few spins, see if everything lines back up. Speed through me putting on the tensioner, these covers, and then we'll do the valves. Time to adjust the valves, so just get your gauges. There's not really a specification I could find on what it's supposed to be. I found a forum where a guy said he used 0.13, so that's what we'll do. We'll do it where it'll move good in this, but just thin enough where it won't fit that. All right, I got this one set where the 0.1 fits in there relatively loose, and then the 0.15 you can't get in. So I'm gonna guess that's somewhere close to 0.13. It'll be the same thing for the other side. Here it is, all done. Just gotta put on a few plastic covers, but besides that, a rebuilt Coleman UT400 engine, ready to go. Stay tuned next time, and I'll be putting it in this turd.